Step into realms where the heart takes flight, where strategy meets the edge of night. The Dungeons, Dragons, and Psychology Podcast. Prepare your mind. Now be our guest.
Without a doubt, storytelling is the heart of role-playing games. And as a dungeon master, storytelling is a skill that you need to master, or at least be comfortable enough with to lead an intriguing tale. But what if you need to improve your storytelling skills, or you just feel like they're not quite up to snuff? What do you do then? I'm Robert Walker, author of Session Zero, the DMG to writing great campaigns in any system, and this is my show where I teach collaborative storytellers how to have more immersive campaigns using psychology. And today we're going to be talking about skill improvements and things that you can do to improve your storytelling quickly. But before we get into that, I do want to take just a moment to say, if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, you've probably noticed that in the last month or so, few of our episodes have been reruns of our Season 1 favorites. And the reason for that is I'm getting very close to the end of my master's program. I'm in the last 8 weeks now, and things have just become quite busy. So I've had to put a few things on hold as I finish my thesis and get all of that finished up. But we're not going anywhere. Things are still going to be coming out to you new. I'm going to be trying over the next few weeks to be spending a little more time on these episodes and getting you out some shorter but very informative episodes. We may not have the knowledge check segment at the end or tricks of the trade, but I am going to try and get you new content out for the next few weeks as I finish up the end of this degree, which is a very exciting endeavor for myself. But let's go ahead and get into the episode. So first, improving your skills as a dungeon master, it involves a deep understanding of narrative techniques. But there are 10 things that I've come up with that you could do to enhance your storytelling skills while considering the psychological aspects of what makes a good story. And let's start with number 1, is knowing your audience's preferences. If you can understand the preferences and interests of your players, then you can tailor your story elements, your themes, and the challenges they're going to face to resonate with them. You can engage them in conversations outside of game to learn about their favorite genres, what characters they like from fantasy stories or novels, and what sort of narratives really speak to them. Having this information will allow you to craft hooks that will entice certain players or give challenges that are really unique to the kinds of things that they like. For example, if a character's or a player's favorite character from fantasy is Frodo, then something that sends them on an epic quest where the odds almost seem insurmountable might be a perfect hook for them for an adventure. It's going to feel like something that resonates with them that they really enjoy already. Next, embrace the hero's journey. If you've listened to the show before, you've probably heard me talk about the hero's journey. We have an entire episode that's sort of devoted to the 3-arc story, and that is something that is used over and over in storytelling because it is so effective. It's a classic narrative structure, and it resonates with human psychology. So you introduce your player characters to the call of adventure, and then along the way, they're going to have mentors, they're going to be presented with challenges, and they're going to have a transformational arc. This pattern laps into our own innate desire for growth and personal discovery. And if you incorporate that into your story, it's tapping into our own schema of how we feel a hero's story should unfold. Next, create empathetic NPCs. You want your non-player characters to have depth and relatability. We talk about this a lot on the show because it is so important. Think of psychological traits, behavioral traits, flaws that your players can connect with. Have NPCs that have relatable motivations and conflicts and emotions that will draw your players into the story more effectively because they understand them and they feel like a real, unique individual. Next, build emotional resonance. As human beings, we are wired to respond to emotions. Our attention is drawn to powerful emotions, and we want to respond in kind. Oftentimes, an emotion can be infectious. I'm sure you've heard that before, but if somebody's having a bad day, it's also easy to get down or depressed by them. Same as if somebody walks into a room and is just exuding excitement and positive energy, the entire emotional state of the room will elevate with that. So craft moments in your story that can evoke various powerful emotions. Joy, fear, sadness, excitement. These emotional experiences will create lasting memories and they will invest your players in the narrative. Beyond that, you can use cognitive dissonance. This would be introducing conflicts and choices that challenge your players' beliefs and values. You can challenge the characters' beliefs and values as well, but if your player characters are making choices that are challenging the players' beliefs, this is something that's really going to draw them into the story because it's going to make them have to mentally process their own schema. Cognitive dissonance arises when you must decide between something that is ethically questionable or a morally gray option. It will keep your players engaged because they're going to grapple with their choices and the psychological implications that might have in their own life. Next, utilize suspense and surprise. We've talked about plot hooks a lot. These fall into that category. But humans have inherent curiosity. So keep your players engaged by employing suspense and surprise. You can foreshadow events, you can drop hints, and then subvert their expectations by introducing those plot twists and maintaining their interest. Or another great way to introduce suspense is if you have a scene or a moment, incorporate music that draws their suspense, evokes emotion with those sort of things, or just anything that is unexpected. That can really be a captivating moment. You also want to pace the revelation of information. So if you control the flow of information to create intrigue and anticipation, you'll do this by revealing key story details at a chosen pace. Don't, there's always the joke about I cast, reveal plot when somebody uses commune or contact other plane or things of those natures. Use your tools as a dungeon master, which is that you basically have control of the story, even though it is collaborative. You're the one who's releasing the information. Do it at your own pace. Make it gradual. Reveal the story details in a way that will keep the players interested and motivated to move on to the next piece of the puzzle. Don't just show them the entire picture of the puzzle. Give them that one piece at a time so that as they put it together, they start to unfold the narrative. Next, you should foster player agency. People enjoy feeling in control of their experiences, and this is a collaborative storytelling game. So allow players to make meaningful choices and let those choices impact the narrative. This will empower them to invest emotionally in the story, and it will create a sense of ownership over the outcomes. There has been a lot of research done, especially in like the workforce industry. Industrial and organizational psychology will teach us that employees who feel like they have ownership over a project at work will spend a lot more time invested in their work. This is basically the same thing. If your players feel ownership over the story because their decisions shape the world, they are going to have a much higher level of investment in the narrative that you are creating. Beyond that, you should invoke the senses. Incorporate sensory descriptions. Immerse the players in your world by using descriptive language. It should appeal to sight, sound, smell, taste, and even feelings. And it should create a vivid mental landscape. You can have all 5 of the senses. I may not have mentioned touch in there, but that one as well. And sort of that intuitive sense. It will create a mental landscape that is vivid, and it will enhance player engagement, because the more that they can process those senses, the more that they understand in terms of what is real about this. I mean, if you say you walk into a tavern, it doesn't really give you a lot of information. But if you throw in descriptive aspects to that, you say you walk into an old tavern with, dusty shelves, and it looks like it's unkempt, but the smell in the air is still that of good cooked food. And there's the sounds of a bard playing on the stage. And, obviously you're going to elaborate this a lot more, but if you engage each of those senses very quickly, they're going to have a much more clear picture of what you're trying to paint for them, and it's going to feel much more real. And finally, this is a collaborative storytelling game, so you need to encourage that collaboration. Foster a collaborative environment where the players feel their contributions matter. And here's a really important piece of that, is you need to incorporate their feedback. That is a huge part of collaboration. The psychology of a good story revolves around engaging players emotionally, intellectually, and creatively. So if you are continuously seeking feedback from your players and understanding what aspects of the story are resonating to them and what could be improved, then over time, you are going to create a richer and more captivating narrative, because you are directly appealing to the things that your players are looking for their characters. That is all for today. Thank you so much for listening. Again, the next few weeks, there are going to be some shorter episodes with just some quick dives into useful information that you can use. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram, dungeons_dragons_psychology, and on there is a link to our Linktree where you can find all of the locations you can talk to me and any of my friends who have been on the show online and just stay in touch with us. Again, please be patient with me as I finish the last of my master's degree. I'm very excited about it coming to an end, and hopefully I will have some really good insights to share with you once my thesis is finished and this whole process is behind me. Until next time, Cyclothids, we'll see you next time.